Hi everyone, this is for my students of architecture. Others can kind of scroll down. Maybe you can hit a like. Yeah. And if you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell icon. Yeah. Well, you see, I had been practicing as an architect for the past 2 decades across India and abroad. With my hands on experience, I had been guiding numerous projects and numerous students of architecture. So I am here with one of my students here. He is into his design work, so he'll be explaining us what he has done on the designs, and let's see if you can guide them. Yeah.
Wall side.
Are you able to see this part?
Yes, sir.
Was it this one?
I think so. And a little bit after that, we drew it on the side. If I'm not. Yes, sir. This was the one.
This is
If you could reverse it. Yeah, if you could reverse it a bit. The drawings that we did on the site.
Before this or after this?
Okay. Yes, this one.
Second level. And there is this first level and the down level. Yeah. So from that second level, how do that access path? You got it?
Yes, sir. 1 minute. Yeah, I got it. I got it, sir.
Yeah, this is what we are drawing on the side. This was regarding the shape of the building, how the building should have been.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So,
I wanted to show you one thing, sir, that I had been recently working on. Since my design is a community building, right?
Yeah.
It's supposed to be for the community, and I think I initially discussed this idea that I did not want any boundary walls on my site, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, what is there any like need for a boundary wall specifically mentioned in the bylaws? Because I wasn't able to find anything. So, will it be possible to go ahead without any boundary walls, or is it necessary for us to give a boundary wall?
I'll tell you what. As per the norms, okay, either it is West Bengal building bylaws or it is NKTU bylaws or whatever the municipal bylaws that are there. So there is no mandate which tells you about whether we have to give a boundary wall or not. That is for your protection. This is your personal choice because this is an individual property. Okay. Now,
Okay.
This is not applicable for your some gun shell factories or jails or something other structures which are specialized buildings. Which is not mentioned in the bylaws directly. They have the
Okay.
This is basically only for the residential buildings, commercial buildings, or public buildings which are under the bylaws. So just as the initial stage of the bylaws, you see that what are the categories of buildings that are there, which is falls under those. Now, what has happened is, this is for your own safety. One, if you decide that your facility can be safe without a boundary wall, you are welcome. Right. Secondly, in the norms, you will find a regulation for the bylaws, but it only talks about the height of the compound. There is a restriction
Yes.
how high you can go with the compound, right? You cannot go like
Yes, sir.
10-15 feet high wall for a plot like this or maybe residential. There is a restriction, right? So why there is a
Yes.
restriction? Because there might be some activity which might be antisocial or some other activity which might not be suitable for the society around that can happen within the perimeter of the site if the walls are too high. So in the process of securing your site, you should not exclude it from the surroundings. So that is the whole concern. Now, if you decide that you will not be having a boundary wall, but still your site will be safe and secured in all respects by other doing other things by design, right? Then there's no need. Right? Your facility can become a holistic part of the surrounding. Doesn't matter. You are welcome.
Yes, sir. The other thing that I was thinking was, apart from the psychology of the boundary wall in an open site, the other thing was that boundary walls are sometimes also given to prevent people from entering from spaces that they're not supposed to enter, right? And if I just give a visual barrier, like if I plant trees, doesn't matter how dense the trees are planted, to densely they are planted, there might still be some spaces that people can go through where they're not supposed to go through. So I tried to combine two ideas. We also needed a water feature on the site. So I was thinking that alongside the boundary wall that I'm giving, what if I introduce like an artificial water channel or kind of like an elongated water channel, which makes it inaccessible to common users, both from within and outside the site.
That is possible. See, there are chances that people might just walk into facilities where they are not supposed to go. But for that purpose, one, you can have securities for that, right? Two, you can have a visual permeability, but not a physical access. That is also possible without having a boundary, right? There are a lot of places where you can see those places, but you really cannot walk to those places because of the landscaping done in certain way, right?
Yeah.
So, and even there can be hidden fences. How that can be having some hedges or bushes where there are fences within those bushes, right? So even if you want to break it, you cannot. But on a visual point of view, you'll see a green wall or something, which looks good. So you are taking care of the aesthetics as well as the function of it.
Okay. So if the fences that have been given there are of low height, just to prevent people from walking around that area, is that enough?
No, it's not a matter of being enough. It depends on what the requirement is. See, if you will have securities, right? You will have security monitoring everything.
Yeah.
So if people want to jump into your facility, I mean, they have bad intentions, and if they have bad intentions, you can't stop them in any case. So that is good to know.
Yeah.
Right? But normally, what will happen? Given a pathway, will the person walk on the pathway or jump over the fence? He will walk throughout the pathway, right?
Yeah, considering that the entire site is open and does not have any restrictions, I don't think people will go through that area. But I mean, if anybody has an intention of doing something like that, they will do it. It doesn't
There
matter
can be
whether
certain
it is
pockets within
a
your
wall
site.
or not.
Like for instance, the one that we are seeing in the screen right now. So there are certain pockets
Yeah.
which can be secured by internal perimeter hedging, which can have some
Okay.
wire meshing within those hedges, which actually stops people from bulldozing those places. Maybe for
Okay.
they can't just directly walk in. Those are
Okay.
certain height, those are green walls, but people will not be able to walk. If they're
Okay.
supposed to be so secure, if they are not, you want the people to enjoy the beauty of your building, the way you have done your massing, coloring, and everything. So I guess it's a good way to go.
Okay, sir. And sir, I sent you a pre-drafted floor plan for the exhibition block on WhatsApp. I'll just pull that up right now on my screen. So you'll have to allow me to share the screen.
Right. Just see.
Okay. Yeah. Are you able to see the screen, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is okay. Wait a minute. Yeah. So this is my north side. This is south. This is east, and this is west.
Which is not. Okay.
1 minute. Yeah. This side is north.
Mhm.
This side is south.
Alright.
This side is east, and this side is west. Right. So I was looking into this entire year, like considering that this is a kind of like a gallery block, right? So what is the preferential sunlight treatment? And as you said before, like since it's an exhibition block and things will have to be on display here, so we need a consistent amount of daylighting throughout the day. So that is only available towards the northern side, which is
Yes.
this area and this area.
Right.
And we have from the southern side there is a harsh sunlight whose intensity changes throughout the day. From morning to evening, the direction of the sunlight and also the intensity of the sunlight keeps varying, right? So which is on this side and this side. And since earlier I was primarily giving the main facade on this side, you told me to give a solid wall towards this side and give the main glass facade on this side, on the northern side.
Yeah.
Right. So I was thinking that even if I give a glass facade here to display everything that is there, what if I give a barrier in front of it, a semi-permeable barrier which will act as a shading device for a light and shadow effect from the southern side. Since the direction of the sunlight and the intensity of the sunlight changes throughout the day, it will create an interesting feature in front of the exhibition block. And I came up with something like this. If you can see, sir.
Yes.
So,
Right.
Where is the
This one.
So I came up with something like So if I give a visual barrier over here, right?
Mhm.
Why can't I draw? That's here. Okay. Yeah. So if I give a visual barrier here, which is in front of the southern side, it will create and if it's semi-permeable, that means that if light can some amount of light can go through, it will create an interesting facade and light and shadow play on that area.
Right.
So will that work if it is placed in the same position as we discussed before? So giving that, will it like cut off the amount of heat that will go into the building and okay?
See, ideally, you go to the plan of the building.
Yeah.
This corner is not. This is south.
Yeah.
And since you do not have a site constraint, the site is not so small that you cannot orient or reorient your building. Ideally, what happens is the longer side of the building would be like this. So, something is there. The longer side of the building. So, this plan, if you could somehow rotate by a couple of degrees, align like
Yes, sir. If you look at it on the side, the plan will be positioned exactly like this.
right, but then your north should have been here, right? So the north becomes here in this particular. Your north becomes this here, right?
Oh yes, that's my mistake.
So yeah, now if that is the case, then what happens is north is here. this side is north. Yeah, this is south. Right.
Yes.
So now what happens is this is north, this is south. On the southern side, you can give this huge overhang, which would create all of the stuff, which is fine. It's great. Northern side, you can allow the light to come in because this is diffuse convection. Okay, so you can allow the light to come in and have a permeable facade. Right.
Yeah.
And this particular facade, even if it is permeable, since we have an overhang here, which is shading the whole thing, no worries, it is okay.
Okay.
You did not have a solid wall. The whole point why it was asking for solid wall is that you did not have this structure.
Okay.
Right, now that you have it, you have a shading device on top. Whatever structure it may be, but it should be shading. It should not be so light as a structure. Okay, it can have timbers like this, but it should shade the facade to a certain extent.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
At least to 45 degrees of sun movement, so it should be shading. Right.
So you know how we have that permeable, covering or grids that are like how we have it in front of our windows. Meshes, wire meshes, very permeable wire meshes.
Yes.
We can use that on the spaces between the timber spaces that are there in the V shape.
I think you need to explore that further. Just directly putting a wire mesh may not work. So you might use creepers, green plantation on top of it.
Okay.
So it is a very good idea to put creepers on top of this one. So the creepers itself will shade the whole facade.
Yeah.
If you put creepers like this, a dense creeper on top, it will gradually go down, or maybe from the bottom it goes up, whatever it may be. So this will also shade the whole. Okay, this looks great. So this part is okay. This side is fine.
Okay.
So
and also the other reason why I was going for this is because the walls towards the northern side, right? Those walls will be double height, and the ceiling will be descending towards the southern side.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah, because I've seen the Massive. So
now
nothing
so,
is
yeah.
Yeah, Namasi was right. Can you hear me? Yeah. Then, hello.
Yes, I can hear you.
So your north side is good. Okay. This
Yeah.
south side is south is okay. South is fine. And once you are given this kind of a trellis, which is inclined, like inclined in this direction, right?
Yeah.
So now people can actually walk through like this.
Yes.
People can pass through like this. This is also a nice feeling. There will be a sciography of light and shade cast on top from that trellis on the top. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be the idea. Yes, sir. Also, the other thing that I changed here, if you would if you remember this area, earlier I was giving a lot of amount of steps without any major breaks in between. So the thing that I came up with was it's not necessary for the people who will be sitting here to be given access to the roof, which is this area. It's not necessary for them. Just that this area in itself provides a lot of space for people to sit and enjoy the area. So I've just kept it till around 1.6 meter. So it breaks off at the wall.
So these guys will be sitting and what? They'll be looking at the garden or something in this side, right?
Yeah. On this side there is supposed to be an open lawn space where children can play, or if there is an event being held, people can come up and relax over here. Sometimes the exhibition sometimes during some wedding functions, both interior spaces and exterior spaces are rented out. So this can act for that space.
Yeah, I guess this is an interesting space. Try the possibility of having a small kiosk here.
Where?
In these two locations. At the height of these landings.
So I can't see your drawing.
No? Can you see it?
No, sir. Yeah, now I can see.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got my point. So what will happen is either this can be like tea stalls or momo stalls, or snack stalls. So these will serve the people who are sitting here, and this can become a gallery, like in a theater or something.
Okay.
So, which is good.
That's an interest. I'll just note that down, sir. Otherwise, I'll forget again.
These will be at heights, like at the landing height. These might be protrusions within the administrative office, but this can be at the mezzanine height of an administrative office.
Okay.
At that particular location, the height of the ceiling of the admin office will be a little less than this. Or maybe these two are connected from within. Whatever, that's for your design. Right.
Yeah.
And this can have
or another thing that we can do, if we want to adjust the kiosks here, if they are not too wide in space, we can give a false wall here.
So that's what, like, it's up to you to how you address this issue, but I guess there should be some kiosk. So it will be having some economic viability of that particular space, and also it will be helpful for the people who will be coming and sitting for a longer duration of time, right? And thirdly, it will also be having a kind of monitoring and control over this particular area. So what happens is in our kind of a society, everywhere wherever there is a space which is accessible to the public, and where there is not much of a monitoring and so on. So a lot of people gather there who are not really very conducive to the society. Got my point? So if there are shops
Yes,
running
sir.
out there, so they will help to keep an eye on the entire scenario what is going to happen there, and which is also good.
Okay. Okay. So it basically increases the security for that space to
Yes,
prevent
because
any unsocial activity.
Yes, there are three major advantages of doing this. So the people who will be sitting there, they will have some refreshments. Secondly, there will be having some economic activity. Dead space will be having economic activity viability for its own, right? And thirdly, it will also have a security point of view. So that's good.
Okay, sir. Yeah, this is pretty much what I have till now, sir. Like what I've worked out.
Even
I
if
was
see, even if you will, you can have further kiosks on this side. Couple of more maybe here.
okay. I don't want to give chaos on that side because I want that platform to be empty for people to just sit there instead of having shops on the break spaces. But the one but the one over here is a good idea.
Yeah.
I can integrate that, but I would not like. I'd rather not have kiosks here.
See, there are about this wall, you might have a mural wall.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to save it for. And since gallery spaces also require some storage spaces, I was thinking I could give a half width storage space within like beneath the
Yes,
staircases.
For the office and the gallery. And
Yeah. So that space is like it will reduce the cost of the cost of constructing that and also increase the efficiency of the space.
So again, now coming to the sun path analysis of this. Okay, so since you had the north, your north facade is okay. You have the shading device on the south. Your south side is okay. In the east, this is a dead wall, but you have a live wall here. Right?
So it's like I don't think I've denoted it properly, but I won't be giving a wall yet. It'll kind of like be how we have a boundary space on terrace so that people don't fall over. It's gonna be something like that.
Rating sort of parapet.
Yeah, like kind of like a parapet wall.
Okay, so you have a dead wall here. Do you have a window or something here?
Yes, sir. There's a window here.
If you have windows here, you'll have to have vertical members like this.
So the thing was that I wanted to give members here. We'll have the main community building. The community building will be towards this side, right? It's going to be towards this side. So there will be a pathway running from here to the community building,
Right.
and I wanted to give like a kind of like a pergola, like this.
Okay. See, the main idea is just because your sun path is like this. Yeah. From east to west, this is your sun path. This is the summer sun, this is the winter sun. Now,
Yeah.
due to these shading devices in a vertical way, if you set them up, there will be lesser amount of early morning sun going inside.
Okay.
The solar heat gain will be less.
Okay.
Now, so that is for the eastern side. For the western side, on the top, you'll have to have overhangs like this. So the eastern side it was vertical overhangs. On the western side, it will be horizontal overhangs. Right. So horizontal members like this, like churches, whatever, but at
Okay.
multiple levels. Because
Okay.
the east and the west, both the sun are low. They are at a lower angle, right? So
Okay.
when the sun is low, but yet it is hot in our kind of a climatic scenario, it will not enter the building directly like this. Otherwise, there will be a huge heat gain in this part happening.
Okay. I did not know
People
that.
will
Sir.
not be
I
able
thought
to- Sorry?
I thought because it was in the northwest, then the same concept will be applied there. There'll be a soft light that will be
No,
coming through.
Not in the west, but in the north it is okay, but not for the west. For
Okay.
west, it is supposed to be like this. Otherwise, what will happen? People will not be able to sit here in this part of your building. This part of the building,
Okay.
people will not be able to see this part of the building. Nobody can sit here. There will be such huge sun rays directly onto their faces. So
Okay.
you have to have some kind of a overhang like this, as I said, or in addition to that, you'll have plantation, lot of greenery to soften that solar insolation. Okay.
So if I give
Still is
plantation.
not a problem.
If I give plantation barriers there, then I can not like there is not a necessity for the chadda to be there, right?
No, I guess you have to give both because what happens is
Okay.
for plantations we don't have a control on them, right? They
Okay.
may grow, they may not grow. Nobody knows exactly at what height they will grow and whether they will be actually having that many number of leaves and the plant cover. The canopy would be so much that it will actually shade the building that way. We do not have a control on the plant side, but you have a control on your
Okay.
building. How you would be designing it.
Okay, sir.
That's my point.
I also came across an article that made me think about the idea, the open site spaces and all. Where is it? It's this one. Can you see this, sir?
No.
Can you see this now?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So this basically discusses how to integrate a building after sunset. And this was one of the major paragraphs that got me hooked to the idea.
Can you zoom it a bit? What does it say? also talking about a lack of boundary.
Yep.
And that walls becoming transparent, which is exactly what you are supposed to do. Because you have a nice,
Yes, sir.
nice garden all around. Your building will be within a garden.
Yeah.
Is what it should be. Right? You should not
Yes, sir.
design the building and then make a garden around. You have to have a lot of greenery, along with which the building which is a part of.
Yeah.
And the more
The main thing is that the building and the landscaping are equally like it's mutual towards each other, not
Yes.
contradicting, or one does not depend on the other so much that if the other changes, then everything has to change here.
Right, I agree. This is great.
So I was reading this article, and instantly it clicked that if I integrate the interior and the exterior portion of a building, why not doing that on a site level is also necessary since it is a community building.
Yeah.
People have to be integrated with when they are outside of the site and when they are inside of the site. There should not be any disconnect between them.
Exactly.
The entire reason that public spaces have boundary walls disconnect the people that are on the other side. Like if they're inside, they get disconnected from whatever is going outside the boundary.
Now you should do something about your architecture that by design these two meet each other through windows or doors or whatever fenestration, whatever you're glazing or something like that, so that there's a separation is not always bad, but yet you do not have a separation in that. Right?
Yeah.
So you can accomplish those with your design.
Yes, sir. Yeah. So like I'm thinking about how to incorporate it into the main community building that I have to work on. So yeah, that's like this is pretty much what I've done till now.
Yeah, this is a good one. See how
Okay,
this particular facade is. Here,
Yeah.
what they have done is there's a full height glazing, right? It is almost like 2.5 meter high or 3 meter whatever. So now half of it, or almost it is like 3/4 of it, is having a kind of a curtain on top. So
Yeah.
the permeability of sun here from through this and this is greater, right?
Yes, sir.
So now only when the sun is low will it come through the lower part, but still you can see the plantation outside.
Yeah.
And so
Small
really-
small barriers.
Right.
Yes, sir. Then I'll save this slide for further reference.
Yes.
Okay, sir. This is all I have till now. I wanted to update you on that also.
All right.
I'll start working on the main community building, sir, and I'll keep you informed. Okay. Thank you, sir. Good night.
See, I'll tell you what. It is more about three factors: the function, structure, and beauty. You know, where the function refers to how a building is used. Whether a building is used as a house, a store, or a museum, it must accommodate practical requirements for every purpose within its walls. Right? Then about structure, which refers to how a building stands up. Whether it consists of steel columns, wood struts, or brick walls, the framework must resist gravity and the loads placed upon it. While beauty is all talking about the visual and the sensory appeal of building. It is what Vitruvius called the delight component. I have a very good article on this. Go back to my page and check it out sometime. Because architectural delight can be found in a neatly patterned brick wall, a vaulted stone ceiling, or a tiny window emitting a stream of sunlight. Yeah, beauty is the ultimate test of good architecture. But what is considered beautiful and what is considered ugly changes over time and with the perception of the individual. For instance, the Kennedy Center in Washington D.C., designed by Edward Durrell Stone, a leading architect of the day, was considered the height of architectural beauty when it opened in 1971. Today, it is ridiculed for its kind of boxy shape or gigantic lobbies and modernistic decorations, all this stuff. So, people's mind changes, design feel of a design changes, and the requirements change, and the society moves on. Sometimes an architectural style that was once considered beautiful will fall out of favor, only to be rediscovered later on. So many things you have seen that history repeating itself. In Miami Beach, for instance, the city was thriving to Art Deco. Hotels fell into despair in the 1970s and the 80s after years of neglect. After preservationists pointed out that the merits of this architectural treasure, the hotels were renovated and became the hip tourist destinations. A lot of examples we have in India. Truly outstanding works of architecture never fall to wow us with their special flavor. Such structures as Stonehenge or Parthenon, for that matter, still admired for their mountainity or monumentality through which the thousands of years old. How can you tell if building a good architecture? You can be pretty sure that building is good if you can answer yes to a couple of questions. Number one, Does it express its function in a meaningful and visually interesting way? Number 2, does it complement or contrast its surroundings? Number 3, is it well built? Number 4, does it age well? Number 5, do the building spaces surprise, inspire, mystify, delight, or disturb? Understanding the complexity of architecture can seem daunting. To understand this complexity, you must find out about the science of our structures, of architecture, the craft of building, and the art of space making. Understanding the complexity of architecture can seem daunting. To understand this complexity, you must find out about the science of structures, the craft of building, and the art of space making, as well as the terminology of architecture. The terminology can be maddeningly obscure, but the rewards that come from understanding it are great. You will be able to appreciate not only your immediate surroundings but also iconic buildings throughout history. Buildings and cities are more likely to improve in the future if people become knowledgeable about architecture. Having said all of that, I strongly believe that an architect will always be a student, continuously learning, because there is a lot to learn in architecture. Let me know your views, your thoughts. Comment in the box. I'll get back to you. See you.